All right, so I'm joined here with Harry from Scotland, who pretty much 2 years ago to the day joined Club Closer, and he recently just had his first 10k month. Harry is, yeah, one of the hardest working students and one of the most consistent students we've had inside CC. And it's taken him longer than most to hit that 10k a month mark, but he didn't stop. He stayed consistent. I think he'll say himself, he's learned a shitload, and it's all paid off. So Harry, man, why don't I throw it to you and just get you to introduce yourself, man?
It's a good introduction from Marcus. I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, as he said, I joined Club Closer of February 16th, 2023. It's now like February 2025 and obviously come a very, very long way. Um, the things Club Closer have done for me is honestly crazy. And I don't even think it was, I'm excited to dive into this because a lot of people are coming in for like the skill set and like to learn to sell. I don't even think that's the biggest thing. I think it is actually the community and like how much it opens your eyes to what is possible and like the people that you meet and then the connections that you build with it. So I'm excited to dive in, but that's a nice little introduction about me.
Yeah, sweet man. Well, I think let's kind of start where it all started. Just touch on like what you were doing kind of before you got into high ticket clothing. What was life like? What were you up to? What was the trajectory?
So I'll dive like quite a little bit back because it's quite a funny story. So I used to stack shelves in a corner shop, like a Premier. I don't know if you have Premiers in London markets.
Yeah, I've
Um,
heard of them.
but like a little Premier corner shop, and then I was there for like about a year and a half, just doing nothing, to be honest with you, like doing nothing in my life. But I always felt like, I always had that feeling that this wasn't it. Like I always had a feeling that, I used to go out every weekend, do stupid stuff. I was like 18, 17,
Were you
18.
studying or anything, or was it just working in the
I,
corner shop, nothing else?
I studied for a little bit. I done like, what was it again? I done like electrical engineering at college for a little bit, but I just packed it in. I was like, this isn't for me. I'm not going to go on it with this. I've always wanted to start my own business. Ever since I was young, it's always been like a big thing to me. Um, So I originally started trying to do e-commerce, but for like ages I was doing absolutely nothing. Like it was kind of like a complete turnaround. Like I deleted all my social media. I didn't really talk to my friends. Stopped going out for ages. Started trying to do e-commerce. Started like 3 different stores. None of them worked out. Then bought Eman Gadzey's agency Navigator off some scarcity. He does YouTube like what they call the series. Like, it leads up to selling you the course. And honestly, looking back to it, incredible marketing because I was like so bought into like I need to buy this at the end of it, and got in there. Wasn't I don't know, like personally, I know obviously you're a big Eman guy, Marcus, because he obviously helped you with your agency, but I didn't personally think that was a good program for me anyway. Like the level of support I got, the connections I got out of it, I just didn't really feel like it was for me. Started going back to the e-commerce stuff mid through building, like I was building like um a store for like pet toys, called it Paws On. Like I was a shit name as well. But I was building that while I quit. Sorry, I'm messing this up. So I actually quit that job because I was like, I'm gonna get stuck working in this corner shop. I need to just get out of here. I started waiting tables at a like a big restaurant, and anyone from Scotland will know that the Dome in Edinburgh. Like they do it up at Christmas. I was like a Christmas temp for like a month, which was a really good experience. Again, didn't really like that. Then I went to work at a bank for like 3 months doing customer service. I was like, again, this kind of just instilled that I just couldn't really do the whole 9 to 5 thing. Like there was people there that was like, I've been here for 12 years and everyone was just eating biscuits and drinking tea all day. And I was like, this is actually disgusting. I need to get out of here. I'd done the training for like a month and a half, got on the phones for like a month and a half, and honestly, I actually got let go because for some stupid stuff as well. Like I'm not even going to go into it, but it was actually I got paid off and everything for some really stupid shit. And then it was actually a blessing in disguise because that was like just when I bought Club Closer, and I've kind of like messed up the time frames of this story. So I want to go back to how I joined Club Closer. So in Agency Nav, obviously Marcus was popping off in there. I seen 50k months back in the day there, and I liked one of his posts. Remember instantly, Noah hits me up. Obviously, I was thinking it was you. Um, Trying to be like, oh, look at all our students hitting 10k a month, and I was like in that burnt mindset, like I'm never buying a course again. Fuck this shit. Eman's burnt me. Um, and then I was like, no, I'm not buying your course. Noah follows up with me a month later when I'm still trying to figure out with the agency, still trying to like see if I'm going to do e-commerce and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get on a call. I'm going to try and steal all the free knowledge I can. I can remember saying this to my dad as well. Like, I'm not buying this thing. I'm just going to get as much free knowledge as possible. And then I jumped on with Matthias back in the day, the OG club closer member, which obviously he's gone on to do big things as well. And it just made so much sense by the end of the call. And after I didn't even realize what happened, now obviously getting into closing, I'm like, holy shit, he closed me so hard. But the fact that I went from like, I'm never buying this thing, to wow, this makes the most sense in the world. I mean, I want to be able to do that with people. Like, how has he brought me from a place of being like, I'm never buying a program ever again in my life, to dropping like 3.9K that it was back in the day? I was like, I need to be able to do this. So then I jumped into Club Closer, obviously got let go from that job and was like, holy shit, it's a do or die moment. Went all in on outreach, got my first appointment
So
set.
just slow this down, Harry. I'm kind of curious to ask before we jump into what you how it was when you started Club Closer. Just in terms of like what you're saying around, you never wanted to buy a course again, and then you said it made a lot of sense for you. Obviously, what Matthias went over on the call, like what exactly from going from starting the agency, because back in the day we used to work with a lot of guys that came from the agency space and struggled to scale the agency business, as did I for like 2 years. What was it that made so much sense, that clicked for you and was like, yeah, this makes sense, I need to start being a closer?
I think it was just less pieces to the puzzle. Like, obviously you'll know as a business owner, there's like so many different things when running your own business. Obviously you got service delivery, managing clients. Then if you fail the service delivery, managing clients comes 10 times harder because they're roaring at you. And then the key thing to any business is actually being able to sell them, right? Because you can have the best product in the world and the best service delivery, but if you can't actually close the person, then you're not going to make any money. So it was just the fact that I seen the vision of like, this would allow me to make enough money where I can. And at the start, I remember telling Matthias, like, if I could make just as much as I was making at 9 to 5, but could just do what I wanted, like live somewhere else, go to the gym when I wanted, I would be happy with that, right? So I just seen that because like 2K a month as a closer is like, it's not a lot of money, obviously, right? So I seen a clear vision of I can definitely do that with this, and this is a clearer path than me trying to figure out this agency stuff because it just wasn't working. So I just seen the clear path of me getting to my goals with closing. So that was the biggest thing for me, and the level of when I thought I started, the ease of getting there. That makes sense.
So it's just, I guess the thing that really resonated with me was just less pieces to the puzzle. There was a clearer path that made a lot more sense, and there was less moving parts for you to then lock into and make work.
And I think just as like anyone that does want to start a business in the future also might want to take closing as a stepping stone, is that I think with starting a business, Marcus, and you'll probably know, I know your agency wasn't the first one you started, you're going to lose a lot of money to actually learn these things. With closing, you're getting to work in these startup businesses, learning from like high level entrepreneurs about their marketing funnels, their products, their sales process, and you get to make money. So you actually get paid to learn rather than lose money to learn. I think it's if you're like a young person that wants to get into business, it's a very win-win situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's definitely win-win, providing that you put in the work, which obviously you did. And obviously, by the sounds of it, you had you did so many different jobs. The one consistent one was the stacking shelves, right, for 1.5 years. And then you went on and tried a bunch of stuff, including the agency. How long were you trying the agency for?
Honestly, not long at all. Like, not long at all. Like, the e-commerce stuff was my main thing. The agency, I literally went through the course. I wouldn't even say that I done e-commerce for like 4 months. Like 4 months, I was trying to figure that out. The agency was kind of in between that because I couldn't really give up the e-commerce stuff because it didn't really resonate with me, the agency thing. I think Eman just closed me on the whole scarcity fact of like, I don't know, I just ended up buying that, right? When I actually went through the course, I was like, the agency business model just didn't really resonate with me at all. And then I just went straight back to e-commerce. Like, this was like maybe a couple of weeks of going through that course and went, you know what, I just want to do e-com. Like, this doesn't really resonate with me.
And then when was it that you stopped the e-com to go in with closing?
Well, like, again, like 3 weeks after this, because I was still in agency nav, obviously. And when Noah messaged me or you messaged me or whatever, I was actually still doing agency nav. So I was like, you know what, like, I got this. Like, I'm going to keep trying to figure it out. And I was just going through the course. And then I just kind of was like, no, I'm going back to ecom. Like, I just preferred, like, I had more fun building building the stores, looking for the products, making the TikToks and stuff, like, how to do organic. I just was enjoying that more. So I went back to that, doing that for about 3 weeks before Noah followed up with me. That's when I jumped on the call. Honestly, Matthias did an amazing job, because I was obviously, I'm doing ecom here completely. Once I got on that call, that was me. I just chucked it away, went all in with the closing.
So what I want to try and understand, Harry, is like, you tried all these things, you had all these jobs. What made you stick out closing now for 2 years? What's been the thing that's been like, all right, because you've actually locked in here and you've been so consistent with it. But if you look at your previous track record, you weren't super consistent with it because you kept chopping and changing.
Yeah.
So why have you stuck to closing? Why have you locked in on this?
Well, there's actually like a backstory to this as well, actually. So the reason that I was jumping all these jobs as well is because I was actually looking, and this is actually a key part to the story I totally forgot. So this is cool as well. I used to have 2023 January 1st, my goals. One of them was learn to sell. Learn to sell, because if you learn to sell, you can really never not make money. And at this point, I didn't even know what high ticket closing was. So I was looking for like car sales jobs. Like when I was like trying to get out that banking job because I hated it. I was looking for like selling, at the airport, trying to upsell people renting cars, like upsell them, petrol and upsell, whatever it was, that type of stuff. Or I was actually going to take a door-to-door job because I was just, I really want to learn to sell. And that was a key part, actually. I totally forgot about that. So when this came up, and then I also had that conversation with Matthias, it made perfect sense, because I actually told him that one of my goals was to be able to learn to sell. So one, I can make the money that I want to make, because I know with door to door, I know that I wouldn't have made the money, but I was in a period where I was like 19. I was like, this is my learning phase. Obviously, Alex Moses talks about earning phase. I was like, this is time to learn. I was like, I can learn here and make a lot of money. So that was why I stuck out to this, I think. And as well as just the community of Club Closer, it's like being in that community where, back in the day of Club Closer as well, obviously I'm not like too active in the community, but I used to sit in the channels every day. And when you're sitting in with the channels with all the other guys and they're actually making money, you just see that vision of like, if I just stick at this, that's going to be me in the next couple of months. So I think that there was just always those people of like the networks of like people that were doing better than me here that was actually close quarters. Like I could actually speak to them, because with emails,
that kept you accountable, right? That kept your head in the game, because it was like, I can see it, it's attainable. I'm surrounded by people that are doing what I want to do. Whereas maybe like with the ecom thing, you didn't have that same network. Agency, maybe not the same network that meant, and you could see that learning to sell is that fundamental skill. If you learn to sell, you never go broke, kind of thing, that kept you locked in.
Yeah. And I think with that, because Club Closer's community is really where the whole, in my personal opinion, obviously the sales training is really good. The job board is actually beautiful as well. But the community is the biggest aspect, I would say. Because even with Emans, there was like 10,000 people in that. But you had some like Facebook community that you had to like ask for permission to ask a question, and ask for like, everything had to be permitted by the admin. And by the time you made the post, you forgot that you'd even asked the question, because it took 4 days for the post to be posted. So rather than that, having this like those channels where there's people constantly sitting in it, constantly networking, constantly like just talking about your goals, and like it makes it more fun as well. It makes the process more enjoyable when you're not alone.
Yeah, because you're doing it with people that are also doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So I guess like coming back on to then, obviously you entering the space, you making a commitment to yourself that, this is what you want to do. What has, and it's interesting because you've been in the space 2 years now. So your answer to this might be quite long, but what was your experience when you first entered the space, your expectations and the reality of that? How did that really play out?
Yeah, so I think it's like, Alex Ramosa again has a really good quote for this. It's like, any business you start, anything you start, always believe that it's going to be 10 times harder than you currently think it is. Because I think that's the way that I had along with it. I think in terms of the goal that I set out, like in terms of that 2K a month and like have that control of my time, I achieved that pretty quickly with Club Closer, like really, really quickly. I got like a triaging job. And you know why I think I took longer than most people to hit 10K a month? I just got comfortable, I'll be honest. I just got like, wow, I was 19, had that like sorry, I can't speak, time freedom, making enough money to like, I didn't have bills at that point. I was like, I'm living the dream here. I can go to the gym whenever I want. I can just jump on the phone people all day, stop when I want, as long as I booked enough appointments, which I was pretty good at appointment setting as well, because consistently I jump on, book 5 calls a day, and that would be me. I'd be done. And it felt easy. So in terms of that, I felt as if not till I went all in that did that happen though, because I felt like before I got let go of that job, I was like pussyfooting, if you know what I mean. Like I wasn't like all in, but when it was like I knew that was going to happen, I was like, I need to find an offer here. So I think I'm actually messing this up because I want to rephrase this here. So I think when you first get in, finding an offer seems so insanely hard, right? Now at this point, it's actually sifting through all of the shit offers once you have experience. So like in the beginning, the hard part was finding the offer, right? Once I found the offer, I felt like I got comfortable appointment setting for a while. That was a grind. Then I went on to closing about 4 months after this. So I was appointment setting for like 4 months, was making between 1 to 2K a month doing that. But I had like very good control over my time with that, because appointment setting, you probably have more control over your time appointment setting than you do closing, because you know what I mean. You get what I mean. Obviously, with closing, you're on back-to-back calls. You have to be in front of your computer. With appointment setting, you can just be standing up, cooking a steak, setting people on the phone, if you know what I mean. So in terms of my initial goals, I think I actually got there pretty quickly with Club Closer. To get to the next level, though, this is where shit kind of hit the fan when I left the appointment setting, because I actually really fell in love with that. And I felt like I was really good at it because I was enjoying it. So, you know, as soon as I stopped enjoying it and felt like that comfort went away, and I was like, I'm way meant for more here. I didn't get into Club Closer to make 2K a month and appointment set. As soon as I fell out of love with it, stopped setting people. Like I just, you know, I mean, it's like that's why I feel like sales is actually like an energy thing. You do need to actually be enjoying
100%.
it, because as soon as I stopped enjoying that, the setting went downhill. So I left that, went to, again, got my first roll through Club Closer for closing in the job board. It's actually funny how I got it. Now, Marcus, just cut me off because I know I'm absolutely rambling here, but it's funny how I got it.
It's good.
It's funny how I got this role. So I applied for this role through Club Closer. Me and I remember Sebastian, I know you've done an interview with him, and a couple other guys. We all got this role on this brand new offer. Obviously, sold the dream of we're all going to make all this money, and then it was like these young guys trying to build this agency. The whole thing fell through. Like we were in Slack, everything was set up, didn't even get on calls, right? Then like a week later, they were like, "We feel so bad." They were like, "We feel so bad for you guys. So we've connected you with this guy in the agency space," right? And then every single closer they hired had an interview with this recruiter in the agency space. And then I ended up getting my first role through that, which was a marketing agency selling marketing to chiropractors, which was my initial closing role. I was actually doing pretty well with that at first. And then the guy just turned off the ads. I don't know what happened with that. He just turned off the ads and expected us to just do outbound dialing of all the old leads. So I was making like 2 to 3K for like the first month. And then after that, the guy completely shut everything off, and then he wouldn't pay me for ages actually. So this is like the story of like how offers, you do need to vet offers, is that this guy just wouldn't pay me for like 2.5 months. And it was like, remember when I don't know, you probably know, I went to Dubai for a little bit with with the offer owner that I was setting for. So I made this 3K month. He was like, you know, you want to come out to Dubai for a week? He went to go get residence out there. I'm like, yeah, I'll come along. You know, I've made it. I'm making 3K a month as a closer. I go out there, and this guy's just refusing to pay me the money he owes me. And I was like, holy shit. That was like a proper moment where I was like, oh, fuck. Might have fucked it here. Luckily, he did end up paying me. So we were good there. Left that in the dust. Joined another shit offer. Quickly got out of there. Then I got an amazing offer, right, through Cole Gordon's recruitment agency. The same offer that Ben Thomas was on. The one that he was doing like 10, 20K months with. And this is actually, I think this is going to be good advice for people. So I joined that offer, and that was a 10K month offer. So I did actually get the 10K month offer way sooner than like a year before I actually hit 10K. And I know why I didn't hit it, because I didn't prioritize it, right? You put in so much work into the beginning of actually getting the offer and getting the skills. And then when you actually land the role and you're there, you think you can just you know what I mean? It's like people stop doing
You've
the
done
thing.
it. I've made it. I've landed the job.
I've made it.
It doesn't work
Yeah.
like that.
It doesn't work like that, because that's when the real work begins. Because closing, I know everyone paints the picture of closing is going to be all this amazing thing. Anything that you do, if you want to make that type of money, you're going to need to fucking work hard. That is the bare bottom truth. So join that. I was trying to do so many things at once, and this is where I really learned that quote of like, you know, you can do anything, but you genuinely cannot do everything. I was trying to do 75 hard. I was also training for the London Marathon. I was trying to get back into fighting, so I was sparring like on a week, and I was just showing up to calls fucked. Like I was just showing up to calls looking like I hadn't slept, and I just didn't prioritize it. And that's been the biggest thing with me joining this offer, is that I got this offer and I was like, everything has been put to the side. I've like my gym, like, everything's fallen off, to be honest with you, because I just money. That I prioritize sales.
Yeah.
And see, when you prioritize it, that's when you get the outcome. So
yeah, I think that's really valuable advice, because I don't think a lot of people think like that. They think that everything should be in balance and they need to like, eat really clean. They need to go to the gym. They need to wake up at this right time. They need to do all these fucking affirmations and morning routines and nighttime routines. And it's like, at the end of the day, like, your attention is so spread across trying to do all these things perfectly, when in reality, if you just locked in on one and said, okay, as long as I do really well on my sales calls and on my sales training, and I focus all my energy and attention on that, I'm going to scale that up. I'm going to dial that in. I'm going to get to 10K a month. I'm not going to, you know, forget to eat. I'm not going to starve myself, or I'm going to live in McDonald's, but I'm not going to prioritize it as much. Then the results come, because you've locked in on this one thing that you really want, as opposed to trying to do absolutely everything. And you see it all the time. So many people try and start like 2-3 businesses when they haven't even made like 10K a month in profit yet. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that you get on sales calls as well, with people trying to do this biz ops stuff, and they're, I've got this business and this business. Like, how much is that business making? No money. I was like, well, why are we here then?
Yeah, why are you doing it? Why are you trying to do it all?
No. But yeah, I would say, I want to make it clear, I didn't completely neglect everything. Obviously, I was still hitting gym and stuff, but I think I've got quite a all or nothing mindset with stuff. So like last year, I was like, every week I felt like I was burning myself out with exercise, like trying to go gym, run as much as possible, and every single week I'd be burnt out with exercise. And yeah, I just realized it was stupid. It was honestly stupid, because what are my goals? Like I do have the goals of being like in good shape and all of this, but there is seasons of life. Like, it's okay to like completely neglect that stuff and go all in on this stuff, and then you can build it out a life around that. Because once you've got that base and you're consistently closing like that, it does become easier once you're in the routine of it to now implement this stuff back into your life. And also, you can just see what's possible. It just doesn't make sense that if I want to be, you know what I mean, David Goggins doesn't have time to take 8 sales calls a day. You know what I mean? Because he's sitting running 12 miles every day and fucking hitting the gym 3 times a day. You can't fit 8 sales calls into that as well and be purely efficient on those sales calls as well. No,
so it's sacrifice to a degree, isn't it? You have to sacrifice a bit of what you're doing, and potentially like some stuff you like doing. Like for you, I think you like running, you like exercising, but it's like it kind of can't take priority. And the same for me, man. Like, I'll train for events, you know, I run marathons, do Ironmans. It's like, but I don't train all the time. So there'll be some months where I'm training for an event, and there'll be some months where I won't be doing anything. December and January, or December really, I didn't really do any training. Now it's like I'm back on the horse and I'm training, but I need to prioritize the work. The work's got to come first. Yeah, because that's the most important thing for me.
100%. And I actually made a reel about this as well, because I don't know if you've seen that. I was making content for a little bit, and that was another thing, that I was making that content, and I just felt like, fuck this. Like, I need to just prioritize. And I actually made a video about it. Of like, I done like a life at the end of the year. I realized, I was like, why have I not hit my financial goals? And I just realized it was because I wasn't prioritizing it. Like, I had the opportunities. The opportunities were 100% there. I just didn't go all in when I should have. Like, I prioritized had to get up early and do my gym workout, but then you're tired for your calls, right? Or had to run fucking a half marathon after work or whatever it was. It's like, no, you don't. Just fucking lock in for 6 months, completely change your life, and then go back to doing that stuff. That's what I would say.
Yeah, man. I really admire the like ownership you've taken here, and the fact like you're saying all this, because a lot of people, you know, especially if you bought a program, the goal is to get you to 10K a month. It's like kind of the responsibility does very much rely on us, but it's it's quite refreshing to see that, like, and I think it's such a good trait that you acknowledge, like, yeah, you got to a certain degree, you got to 2K and you got real comfortable. And then it only became when you wanted to, realize that everything else is distracting me, and, I haven't put in the work, and I'm putting in the work, but I'm not putting it in the right places. To then lock in on this one thing that then has now been able to, and since you've been locking in, you've been able to hit the 10K a month. You're on a great offer, and you're doing really well, and you've got a really good trajectory in front of you, right?
I'm at it's like, what day is it? The 20th today? What is it? The 20th?
21st.
21st. I'm at like 8.6K for this month as well, so I should easily another 10K month for this month as well. Hopefully, if I hit our like KPI bonus, it should get. I'm aiming for 15, but we'll see. I'll do at least 10 though.
Short month. February's a hard month because it's so short.
Yeah, for sure.
But man, you're doing awesome. Yeah, 8K this month. That's great. And that was kind of my next question, man. Was like, what have you been able to achieve with high ticket closing? Well, you kind of said it.
So I want to say, like, even in between this gap of like a year ago when I got that amazing offer and then it just didn't work out because I wasn't prioritizing it. I didn't like, and this is what I want to make clear about. Everyone gets into this space because 10K, 10K is so good, 10K. Because it's like in any business model, everybody wants this 10K month is such a buzzword, right?
The shiny object.
Time, I was still doing like 5 to 7K months. But when I was with Alfred, I was still doing like in terms of dollars, like 5 to 7K months with him. And again, I feel like I got comfortable with that offer because the call volume wasn't a lot, but like I could close on it. So I was like making, pretty good money. I was able to travel. I went to Spain for 3 months with people I met in Club Closer as well. So it wasn't like I just didn't do anything. But it was like, in terms of getting it to that next level, it was just having to go fully all in on it. Just forget all that other shit. Because again, with the traveling, everyone paints this picture of living this laptop lifestyle. It's pretty impossible, in my opinion. Like, you can't actually like travel while fully locking in. It just doesn't work like that. Like, my income from when I went travel went and then went down. Honestly, I was like, I'm gonna go to Spain. I'm gonna start. It's gonna completely change my life. I'm gonna make so much more money. I made less money because I had all this other shit going on. You know what I mean?
It depends. It very much depends. Like, you can, and people do, but you've got to be disciplined, and you have to lock in and not get distracted.
Yeah,
it's not, but it's got nothing to do with who you're with because it comes down to you. Like, you can be with people that want to party, but you've got to have the discipline to be like, no, like, I'm doing my shit. I'm locking in. I'm doing my sales calls. I'm going to the gym. And maybe, yeah, of course, like, live your life. You want to do a bit explore, do a bit of touristy stuff, but it's got to be a balance, and you've got to make sure that you're, again, prioritizing. You're prioritizing the right things.
Again, I think that was my biggest lesson going out there, was that it doesn't really matter where you are in the world. It is literally just about the inputs. Like, it is literally just about the things that you're doing every day. Like, you're like, obviously having John Gav there with the mindset stuff of like, I'm going to go out to Spain, everything's going to magically change. It doesn't work like that. You still have to sit up and get and do the work every single day.
I think that's the delusion as well. A lot of people see or think is like, and I can speak about this from my experience in business and where I'm at now, and you've probably will agree, is the work never really stops. There's no point where you sit on your kind of throne and you're like, I've done it. I've hit the 10K and I'm good and everything's sweet now. It's like, no, like, or any business, anything you get into, you're always going to have to keep pushing. You're always going to have to keep working. Because the minute you stop working, the minute things start going down. The minute things start falling apart.
And I think the goalpost always changes as well. Because, you get to 10K and I want to make 20K now. And then after that, I want to make 30K. You know what I mean? And especially, again, Club Closer, having those friendships. Like, I spent with Ed, obviously lived with him in Spain for a little bit. Now seeing him doing 30K months, that shit motivates you. That's like, when you see your friend going side by side, almost in the trenches, we're all grinding, and he's hitting 30K months, you're like, right, I need to level up here. So again, the community always comes back into it. And Alistair as well, having him on the same team doing 23K last month, it's always so, again, I think that's why I've stuck through this so much, just always seeing like, it's right round the corner, it's right round the corner, it's right round the corner, if you just keep putting in the work.
I think it'd be interesting to get your advice on, because it sounds like throughout the last couple of years, you've got comfortable a few times, right? You got comfortable at 2K, you got comfortable at 5 to 7. And there's a lot of people that probably are watching this that, are still working regular jobs, potentially, in the industry doing similar numbers to you were, and, or just in general are comfortable. What's
Mhm.
been the things that have kind of been able to kind of kick you out of that comfort zone again and get back to working?
So I think one, it just came with age as well, because I was like 19 going into 20, and this was like the first kind of entrepreneurial journey that I had. So when I first started when I went through that period of deleting all social media, locking in till I got this triaging job, and then I was making the money, I started going back out again, right? But then I was like, I hate this. I can't do this again. Get locked back in for a while. To be honest, I never really went back out after that. But in terms of getting comfortable in terms of financials, I just think it was because I was young and I was thinking, like, again, especially being on Alfred's offer as well, because I was the only closer. Again, this is being a part of a good team. It's like now I'm on this offer, this big offer where everyone's making a shit ton of money. When I was the only closer and I'm bringing everything in, I'm like, I'm doing good, I'm doing good, I'm doing good. I didn't have that external push. And at 20, when you're making like £5,000 a month, you kind of can do whatever you want, really, especially when you don't have bills.
Yeah, you're
So
doing
I think
good,
that's
man.
what it was.
You're doing way better than I was at 20.
But the biggest thing for me, Marcus, I think, was that I just got fed up of myself. I think you need to have like you know what the biggest thing is, having that vision in place, like the master vision that you get everyone to do in Composer. I recently just done mine, and see the feeling of reading over that, looking over these things, and when you notice that you're not aligned with that, that is the thing that's going to push you on to get outside that comfort zone. Because
Yeah.
if you don't do it, you're never going to get there.
So that I think that's probably the critical part, is a lot of people are in their comfort zone and things aren't going bad. So things aren't going bad for you, but you probably, and because you hit the goal of, like, when you said on that initial call you had with Club Closer, it was like, oh, I just want to, let me make the same amount of money and just have freedom.
Yeah.
And you had that vision, you had the plan of where you wanted to go, and you got there, but you didn't think further. And a
Next
lot of
level,
people
yeah.
don't think of, like, okay, things are good, but like, what do I actually want to be doing? Where do I actually want to be heading? And is what I'm currently doing going to help me get there? Am I on that right trajectory? Am I working in the right ways? But it's impossible to put the work in or get out your comfort zone if you don't know why you're doing it. So, making that vision, getting clear on exactly what you want and where you want to go is, man, it's so important. And you know it.
Yeah.
Because you've done it now, and I guarantee that's going to be a massive contributor to the success you now go on to have, surpassing that 10K.
Definitely. Because now I really want to go into, well, for a little bit, I was getting to the point where I was like, I really wanted to start my own business, but at the same time, I wanted to hit the 10K. I was like, I need to hit 10K as a closer. I feel like I've not gotten there. But now that I've hit the 10K, I'm like addicted to closing again. Like, I'm feeling really like, I think that was it as well, as like the passion of it. When you got comfortable, and that offer that I was on before, that I was the only closer, and I felt like there was always, when, and a lot of closers that are watching this will know that you're on an offer, and it's always like, nah, this month they're gonna scale, this month they're gonna scale, and you kind of get sold a dream. You're getting sold a dream all the time. And now that I'm on like a really, really good team, that I see that future vision, like I see the 20K months, I see the 30K months, I'm like fucking in love with it again. You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy. I'm doing 7 days a week right now, and I'm fucking loving it. Like,
because the path is there, right? You've got other
yeah,
guys like Alistair, who's on your team, who's also in Club Closer. You see that he's done it. So it's like, well, there's no reason why you can't do the same now, right? Same as Murray. There's no reason why you can't go and do the same as her. Like, you've got these people around you that are then pushing you, and it makes such a difference.
definitely does.
So, man, I really appreciate your time, and I think this has been super valuable. The last question I really want to ask you is, did you have any advice for anyone that's maybe early in the space, maybe in a similar position to you when you first started out, or your first couple months? What's some advice you'd give to them?
I've got a couple things. So one, I would go watch Jordan Davidson's interview and get fucking locked in like that guy, because I think that type of level of work ethic is what you need coming into this. That's the first thing that popped into my mind for some reason. But the next things that I would say is, when you get into this game, get so good. Like, obviously you got to get good at sales, but I would say the biggest thing is get so good at outreach and actually getting an offer. Because the biggest thing, the reason that people make so much money as a closer, is because of the offer itself, right? Because there's people that are like definitely less qualified than a lot of people that are not making a lot of money. Like, I've known like really good closers that are just at shit offers, making like 5K a month when they could easily be making 20, 30 grand a month. And then I know closers that aren't that good, that are on good offers, that are making easily 10k a month. So it's like, I would say the biggest thing is and that was a big thing for me, is that I just like would get on an offer and I would just sit on it for too long. Biggest thing is if this offer isn't aligned with your future vision, and that's another thing, is get really clear on what you actually want to achieve with this. And then just like forget everything for 6 months, 6 to 12 months, forget everything else, focus on that vision, and it will definitely happen. I would say the biggest thing is the opportunity that you want. Because you could be the best closer in the world, and if you are on a shit offer, you're not going to make
You're not
money.
going to make any money.
And
But it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because you need to make sure that you actually are great at sales, so that opportunity, when that opportunity does come along, you crush it.
That is true. That is true. I think they do obviously come hand in hand. I just think that a good enough offer, and like when I joined that offer back in last January, they weren't even looking for skill. They were looking for mindset. They were like, we can teach anyone to sell. We can teach the skill. We just need a dog. Right. So again, it's coming down. They're actually looking for a certain type of person. There's a bunch of people that can sell, a bunch of people that can do a role play and sound good on a role play. But how badly do they actually want it? So you can come across as that guy. That's how you're going to get those good roles, and that's how you're going to stick at those good roles as well. Because even if you are really good at sales, you need to have the work ethic. Doesn't matter how good you are, you need to have the work ethic.
Yeah, that's it. All right, Harry, really appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for sitting here and sharing your wisdom. 2 years in the game. I'm sure you've got plenty more to do, and I'm excited to see where the next year takes you. Just don't get comfortable. Keep pushing.
I will not. Definitely not, Marcus. I mean, if I ever do, I'll just watch this video back and be like, you. I've got the vision now. Like, I'm locked in.
Hold yourself accountable to it, man. Thank you, Harry.
No worries.
Take
bro.
care.
Take care, man. See ya.